Hello and welcome. If you are new here, this is Tree Cat Tarot and my name is Tree Cats. We are going to be doing the monthly zodiac read for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the upcoming month of March. I do zodiac reads at the end of every single month for the incoming month. I'm a big believer in getting your Sun, Moon, and Rising in order to have um, the most with your reading so you know what's going on. It's something I personally do when I am doing forecasts for myself, and I think it's a great idea for you guys as well. So, if you are familiar, we're going to do the very typical format, just the general overview of March for Tauruses. We're going to take a look at some oracle cards, which I already pulled for you guys, as well as your love and relationships, career and finances, and health and spirituality. And let's go ahead and get started, shall we? I'm so excited because I finally have two new decks for you guys. I have the Rainbow Moon Tarot that I'm shuffling right now. That's a Samantha West deck. And then I have Among My Oracles. I now have an Alana Fairchild deck, which I am so happy about. That was too many, Spirit. Because she comes very highly recommended, and I finally have one of her decks, and I could not be happier. The book is so in depth in the imagery, even though she does not create the art, the imagery is just so beautiful. So, so beautiful. So, welcome. I don't want that many cards for the... We're going to try one more time for you, Taurus. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we have Temperance. That is card number 14, Sagittarius energy. We have the Nine of Cups coming out with the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is card number 10. I believe the Wheel of Fortune is also Sagittarius energy, actually. So some of you might have Sagittarius in your chart very strongly. We have the Seven of Cups in reverse. We have the Ten of Crystals in the reverse. And then we have the Ace of Cups in the uphand, coming out with the Three of Daggers in the reverse. This is a good ending position. Okay, but we will get into that here in a second. Okay, Taurus, so for you, in your past, I see Temperance. So Temperance is the overall energy of healing. With it being Sagittarius energy, I am leaning more towards a lot of you have just Sag strongly in your chart, though it could be a Sag person, since the only two major arcana that came out have the same modality. I don't know if that's the word I wanted, but they're associated with the same sign. So it could be a Sag person that you are largely thinking about at this time. That has to do with a lot of what's going on here. So there is healing. You've been through a lot of healing lately, especially with the Wheel of Fortune coming out with the Nine of Cups right next to it. You're doing a lot of healing, and you are seeing the ways that it has, to this point, basically brought you further and further towards what it is that you do in fact want. You're seeing on the horizon with March that you're going to be getting what it is that you want due to the fact that you've been doing your healing. You've been using your healing to funnel and channel your manifestation and move yourself along. You are working more from the path of the heart rather than the path of the ego. And also, if I might say, with Sag energy, letting curiosity guide you and having a more open heart. Sag energy is very, very open hearted, And even though you're Taurus, and that's who I'm talking to, we do have all the signs in our chart. When you look at the whole natal chart, the whole wheel, all the signs appear in there. Even if you don't have a planet there, they all appear there. So you are leading with a more curious energy, a more open hearted energy, being more open minded, and that has gotten you farther, I want to say, than whatever you were doing before, right? So, the month of March, a lot of what's going to be going on at that time with the Seven of Cups in the reverse, I feel like you're going to be feeling some frustration in March because you know you've been doing your manifesting, you know you've been doing your healing, and I think you feel like either you're not getting a lot of options in terms of what it is that you want. I'm going to say with the cards that I see here, a lot of your healing and manifestation is in terms of like, if it's not love and romantic relationships, it is in terms of like, excuse me, deep connections. And deep connections can be like having a strong community, having a deep connection with your family, um, friendships, things like that. So, or anything that you pour a lot of emotional energy into. So, there is some frustration because either you feel like your options are not opening up the way that you would like them to, or you have options but you don't really like them or care for them. With the Seven of Cups in the reverse, there's also a risk here of like allowing yourself to go into fantasy mode because you're not seeing what you want in reality. So you're wanting to go inwards towards fantasy. And while that's not a terrible thing inherently, fantasy does a lot to help us visualize what it is that we want. Don't rely on being alone and just fantasizing for the rest of your life. You still need to enter the real world. You still need to have connections. Um, I'm hearing Professional Griefers by Deadmau5 and Gerard Way. And that's a very interesting song in the fact that it's done in a very, like, the music is kind of upbeat, but when you listen to the lyrics and actually take in what they're saying, they're describing a very broken world, a very screwed up world. And we're just doing our best with what the fuck we have, but not pretending that everything isn't screwed up. That could very well be the energy that you are going to be in for the month of March. You're seeing things are screwed up. You're seeing things are not quite going the way that you want them to, but you're still trying to keep a high vibrational energy about you and just working with what you have and accepting rather than trying to crap fit something into what it isn't going to be. Um, your end result here, though, your end result, the Three of Swords in the reverse coming out with the Ace of Cups. This is new love and new emotional connection. So maybe it's not romantic, but maybe it's a new friendship group. Maybe you deepen an emotional connection with a family member, something like that. It's not only like new love and new hope and deeper connections that are coming towards you, but with the Three of Swords in the reverse, baggage isn't affecting it. Your baggage has been dealt with, okay? And that's largely due to the healing you've been doing over here. And with the 10 of crystals over here though in the reverse, so the 10 of crystals in the reverse is normally when we are like, maybe we have money but we don't have anything else. We have money but we don't have love. 10 of crystals is being is having that castle and you built it yourself and it's filled with all the things you've ever dreamed. When it's in the reverse, either you don't have it, like you gave it up maybe, or you're realizing that it doesn't really do much for you. I'm gonna have to look at your oracle cards to see really which way I lean with that. Um, I do feel like though for the majority of you, maybe like you've been doing your healing and you've been avoiding connections a little bit because you're so focused on the healing, right? You're focused on the healing. Maybe you have old patterns that are bad that you don't want to end up falling back on. So you've been avoiding a little bit. With the Ten of Crystals in the reverse, it's a reminder from the universe, and you're going to have this aha moment anyway, even if I didn't tell you. You're still going to have the aha moment of, oh shit, I have this really luxurious, comfortable home. And I mean, you're a Taurus, of course you do. Of course you have that. But like, oh my god, I have this really luxurious home and I have no one to share it with. Well, let me go fix that. And the moment you decide, oh, I need to fix that, it comes to you. So there's just like a, a click that needs to occur sometime in March, and it's going to occur because your end result here, like I said, is the Ace of Cups with the Three of Swords in the reverse. You're going to have a moment where it clicks, something that you're not doing. The moment you make that click, where it's realizing that you need to share all this comfort with somebody, or realizing that, like, it could even be for some of you that, like, maybe you end up giving something up that is part of your comfortability that you realize isn't serving you anymore. Like, I'm almost imagining if someone has like a really big house or a really big apartment, and it's lovely, and in order to pay for it though, they have several roommates and they're just kind of feeling like it's not really what they want anymore, and they decide to downsize, and it's not as big as the one that they had before, but maybe now they can live alone and they can be more in their own energy and they can be more at peace. And it's easier to decide what you want to do with yourself when you don't have to consider other people that you live with. Not that living with other people is a bad thing. I think most people in our economy have to live with roommates. But there is a little bit more peace. There is a little bit more I can do whatever I want. I can make ramen at 3 a.m. in the nude, whatever. Like I can bump music all day long. So maybe it's that, but we're gonna see when we get to the oracle cards, and it could just very well be that for some of you, it is something like downsizing, and once you're alone, you can bring in another person. Then for others of you, it's oh shit, realizing you want to share this with somebody. It's a general read, so it's not going to exactly resonate every single part for every single person. You need to use your discernment, use what makes sense for you. So let's go ahead and get into your oracle cards. We have number 29, Seeing the True You. That makes me think of Claude Monet paintings. And let me tell you, I haven't thought of a Claude Monet painting. I haven't thought about that name in a very long time. I didn't even know it was anywhere in my brain. That's what that makes me think of. So maybe your dwelling has a lot of fine art, or maybe you're updating it with a lot of fine art. We also have Salt with protection. We have number 37 with There is Medicine in My Shadow. She has a little owl there. So maybe owls are significant to you. Oh my god, and we have Heart, number 24. This is definitely, like, March is definitely going to be when you obtain a new connection. Now, it may not turn into love right away, but for most of you, I would be very surprised if it didn't. We're going to reiterate numbers again really fast. So we have number 14, we have number 10, we have number 29, we have number 37, which reduces to 10, 29 reduces to 11, and then again to 2. We have 24, reduces to 6, and then the 14 over here reduces to 5. So 10 is, I feel like, coming out a lot. I feel like there's also just a lot of green, right? And green can mean two things. Green can refer to money, which, again, being a Taurus, you like your comforts, you like your luxury, you like good music, and Tauruses are the ones that will actually drive to go see a concert regularly. They will actually go get good food regularly. Whatever they can afford to just really maximize their senses, Tauruses will do it on the regular. Um, so the green can be money. The green can also be your heart chakra. And this does look like a green lotus on this card. This looks like a green lotus to me. And the green lotus immediately makes me think of the heart chakra because usually chakras can be symbolized by lotuses of various colors. So just getting into these cards here. So seeing the true you, we are going to have to read a little bit from the book for this card because I'm not super familiar with her deck yet. I just got it yesterday. So maybe, yeah, again, like some of you are going to be moving in on your own in the month of March. And it's just so you can be more in tune with yourself, more in touch with yourself. So maybe the apartment isn't as big, but that doesn't mean you still can't have beautiful art, good food, and be bumping the music that you love. She has this big, beautiful armchair, salt, protection. There's medicine in my shadow. So some of you might still be continuing some of that healing work, some of that shadow work into the month of March. What I would assume is that you've been doing it for a long time at this point. So maybe you're noticing things aren't coming to you to the degree that you want them to. I think Spirit wants you to continue, at the very least, doing the shadow work. There's something I feel like with this card and this card coming out together, there's something in your shadow that you're not seeing. There's something in your shadow that you have not yet embraced. And I feel like it's going to be once you embrace this thing inside of yourself, once you pull it out and you take a good look at it and you tell it's okay, you're okay, I love you, and you let that become part of you again, that's when this love is going to come in. That's when this will come in. Because at that point, I mean, we are never fully healed, but there's something inside of you that is aching to be loved before the universe is willing to allow you to have another person to be focusing on. Okay? We're never ever fully healed, but the universe does tend to ask us to accept and heal and love certain parts of us, certain parts of ourselves, before it allows us to have extra shit to think about and worry about. Because then that internal thing is taken care of now. And now we have the extra space for new shit. So yeah, with protection, I would almost say that the reason love hasn't come in for you quite yet is because you are being protected. I want to say that until you deal with the shadow aspect inside yourself, you're not going to attract very many connections that are great for you, which is why you feel like your options aren't very good right now, because there's still something inside of you and you're being protected until you address it. And then with heart here, I mean, heart is basically like this is a holy shit. I just looked over to my computer and it's playing My Vietnam by Pink. That's from like her one of her really old albums. I want to say late 90s. It's a good song. It's kind of I wouldn't quite call it bluesy, but it's very somber. That whole album really goes into a lot of her issues with her parents, like what her childhood home was like, and kind of reflecting some of that back to her adulthood. That's largely what that album is about. But you should look up that song. Like, In that song in particular, she is reflecting on how her, you know, life keeps dropping bombs and I just keep score. That's one of the main bits of the chorus. And it's just this back and forth reflection between like things in her childhood and how it has affected her self-image. So maybe there's something in your childhood that you still haven't quite addressed, and it could be because it's particularly painful. It could be like really, really deep in there. Um, with the heart card, that's where we were. With the heart card, however, yeah, like this is in the Lenormand deck that this comes from. I know I said that wrong. But in that deck, this card is the ultimate card of love and commitment and marriage. I will not be surprised if you do not end up in a high level commitment by the end of March, or at least end up meeting someone who you end up in that kind of commitment with. If you're already in that kind of commitment, it's simply going to get deeper. So let's see what is in this book regarding seeing the true you. And depending on how big the passage is, I'm just going to put it up here so you can screenshot it. Some of these are 4 pages long, but we will read the healing process out loud. We will do that part together. Oh my god. uh, yeah, fuck it. We'll do it. F it. We'll do it together. The whole thing. Sometimes we believe that what others tell us we are is though the self we see reflected back to us through their eyes is truth. Yet the accuracy of a reflection depends on the clarity of that which is doing the reflecting. If the receiver forms any opinion about what is perceived, then what is reflected back to us will at best be distorted. Side note, that is such a confusing paragraph. Go ahead and just screenshot this so you can reread that. Okay. It is not necessarily through ill will, it is just the mechanics of the situation. Even the moon reflects the sun in varying degrees of fullness and clarity. We can learn something from the nature of the sun, from the moon, but not as much as through direct perception. Oh. I just thought of Honey, This Mirror Isn't Big Enough for the Two of Us by My Chemical Romance. That's the second Gerard Way song that we have this reading. You must be an MCR fan. I just thought it was funny that like reflection and Honey, This Mirror Isn't Big Enough for the Two of Us. Anyway, this oracle has come to you because you have been putting rather too much faith in the reflections others have of you, to the point that you might not be honoring all that you are and all that you are becoming because you believe too little of yourself. There may be those around you that are able to reflect you more faithfully and even help you see more of your own greatness and beauty. These are the souls blessed with inner stillness. In the clear waters of their ocean of consciousness, you can come to recognize yourself with clearer perception. However, there are those who have not tended to their own ocean or are unable to be still enough to genuinely receive and reflect your light back to you. There is no judgment here. Each takes the path of self-healing that is available and appropriate at a given time. However, to attempt to see the magnificence of a sun and a very partial moon doesn't make too much sense. If you are blessed with those in your life who can show you the beauty within you, wonderful. Even so, this oracle comes to you with a task you are now ready for. You are to begin to develop the art of direct perception. This is the ability to recognize yourself not only in the eyes of others, but from how you feel about yourself, how you experience kindness, and how you observe yourself with compassion and kindness from within. This is a step towards a radical empowerment that does not require perfection in order for you to recognize you are lovable and have much to offer. It is empowerment based on the acceptance of all that you are, working with your strengths, tending to your weaknesses, and being loving, encouraging, and nurturing of all that you perceive. As you continue on this journey, you will not only see your human self but the eternal within you. This is a breathtaking experience that opens you up to the creative energy that flows abundantly through all of life. It is an experience that takes great preparation because we must be strong within our own self-love and acceptance to be able to hold acceptance for all of life. This oracle is nudging you into that preparation for when you have the experience of truly beholding yourself, all judgment, fear, and doubt will fall away and you will just know yourself to be sacred. Then you will be asked to embrace the deeper journey of sacred rebellion against judgment and fear and into passionate creativity and unconditional trust in life. This oracle comes with a special message for you. If you are getting confused about who you are and your motives or actions based on what others are saying or how they are responding to you, step back. In your quest to be a responsible person, you may be unintentionally taking on the feelings of others, making their reflections of you more than they are in truth. More often than not, reflections are more about the state of the reflector than what is being reflected. Let those external perceptions go. Can you just acknowledge yourself? Do so and be free. Healing process. Say with feeling, I now break any contract I have ever made with another, consciously or unconsciously, that has given them power over me, power over my sense of self, the authority to approve or reject me, or anything about me, including my voice, body, creativity, spirituality, and way of living. Of my own free will, I now choose to directly perceive my own inner beauty and turn within with kindness and compassion to see myself through the eyes of unconditional love. So mote it be. Yeah, that is just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So I had thought about this 10 of crystals in the reverse here actually while I was reading this. So what it could be is that maybe you don't live with roommates, maybe you still live with your parents. And maybe it's just, it allows you to have nice things, but it doesn't allow you peace of mind and it doesn't allow you to finish your healing. And again, like I was saying earlier about there's something in your shadow that is begging to be loved. If you have limiting beliefs about who you are as a person, Spirit wants to invite you to challenge those things. Like if you think to yourself, like, just as an example, like if you think to yourself, I am ugly, challenge that. Why do you think that? Name the specific reason you think that. Oh, because my nose is big. Challenge that further. Is it big? Is it actually? What's wrong with it being big? How does that extract from your beauty? Oftentimes, when we actually challenge our self-limiting beliefs, we find that they're quite honestly bullshit. And often self-limiting beliefs aren't, to use the terminology that we were just using, they're not a reflection of what our authentic selves actually think. They're a reflection of the things that we've been conditioned to believe, either directly by people around us or indirectly by the world that we live in. Sometimes, too, when it comes to indirectly by the world that we live in, representation. So if where your limiting belief comes from, like if no one in your life ever told you you were ugly or you were never compared to anybody unfavorably, if it's representation, then look for representation that better fits you, what you look like. It sounds like such a small thing, but it will help to shake that a little bit. Because then when, like, for me, for example, I'm a larger woman, right? I'm a larger woman, and a lot of the influencers and other YouTubers that I watch, um, aside from like tarot readers, because for the most part you can only see our hands, but like, a lot of them are skinnier women. So what I literally did is I just started looking for, big BBW influencers. Started looking for, like workout videos where the woman is a little bit closer to my size. Started looking for, fashion YouTubers where she was a bit bigger. And it helped to like open up my mind to the idea that like my size doesn't affect my beauty any more than I decide it does. Especially seeing like these women, like they would still like really do their makeup and really do their hair, and they moved with confidence and stuff like that. And they, to me, looked gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. If they struggle with that kind of stuff, you wouldn't know. And it's not saying to like pretend you don't struggle with it, and it's not to say that you should keep that like internal struggles to yourself. Absolutely not. You need to get them out of you. But moving like you love yourself will do something to your brain. Dressing like you love yourself, it will help. It will help significantly. Just challenging notions that society has presented to us by finding examples. It I don't really have the terminology to explain it, but it opens up your mind. It opens up your mind to what could be and how you could look at yourself. I feel like what's hiding in that shadow is something inside of you that you are afraid to lead with when it comes to love. And it's because you are in some way ashamed of it. Once you work through that shame and you are no longer ashamed of this thing, you want to expose it, you want to show it to the world. Like, I feel like whatever it is, it's something that's actually a strength of yours. It's a strength, and once you learn to lead with that, love will come towards you. However, that is the perfect segue to actually move over to the love and relationships portion of your reading. I cannot believe I almost forgot about that part. That's like a whole third of the reading. So, love and relationships for Taurus, please. Okay, we have Rooted, which is the Hierophant in reverse. That is Taurus energy. Come on. There we go. Of course. And then we have the Eight of Wands in the reverse and the Nine of Wands also in the reverse. Okay. Yeah, so love is definitely being delayed at this time. And it's because you're struggling to not give up on something within you that is non-traditional. There's something about you or the way you love or the kind of dynamic or union that you truly desire, which is non-traditional. And it's going to develop slowly. Either this person comes to you slowly, or I think for many of you, the connection, you may not know for sure right away when you meet this person that this is going to be a love connection. I think it's going to take you by surprise. But the Nine of Wands in reverse, it's urging you to like whatever thing about love and connections and personal dynamics that you are resisting. Like say for example, that you would like to start identifying as non-binary versus adhering to a specific gender role. But maybe you feel resistance to that because you were raised in, I think most of us were raised in a society where genders were twofold, and what those genders looked like was very, very strict. And you don't adhere to that. You want to identify as non binary. And so you're resisting it, and you're resisting, and you're resisting. And the problem is that resisting so much and not being true to yourself, it's very exhausting, first of all. And second of all, it's slowing connections down for you. You can't bring in people who are for you if you are not being true to yourself. The vibration's going to be off, it's going to be screwed up. So, Spirit's asking you, whatever it is inside of you that you are trying to pretend away, that you are being inauthentic about, give it up. March is the time to fully step into our authenticity, no matter how weird we think it is. No matter how weird everyone else thinks it is. It doesn't. Other people's opinions ultimately really do not matter. What only matters is our opinion, and I can tell you, even if it feels weird to be yourself, at least it's not tiring. At least it feels like, you can breathe a little bit more. So, yeah, March, definitely finishing up that shadow work, stepping more into our authenticity, and potentially moving out of where we are currently living, just so we can be who it is that we want to be. And then we can bring into our lives people who are meant for us. And that's everything. That's all kinds of connections who will come towards us that we're actually meant to have for us. So, I just heard Tush by ZZ Top in my head, specifically the parts where he says, Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some tush. I don't know if that's, yeah, you do you, boo. Like, whatever. We're all adults here, and if you're not, you need to get off my channel. But yeah. So for career and finances, we have the Warden of Crystals, and we have the Tower. The Tower is Aries energy. It is card number 16. And isn't that tower just simply on fire? So this tower is really on fire. Then on top of it, we have the Warden of Crystals in the reverse. I almost want to tell you that whatever career you're in right now, it's not for you, and you know it's not for you, and it hasn't been for you in a minute. I feel like the reason you've been struggling to give it up is because you make really good money at it, and either you're getting to a point to where you still make good money, but it's no longer worth the money, or you no longer make good money for one reason or another. Maybe you had a good position, then you were demoted, or you stepped down, or maybe you had to limit your hours for one reason or another. But now that the money's not there, you just kind of see how screwed up everything is, and you're like, oh, this isn't it, boo. This is not it. I'm not about this life. So the other way that I could interpret the Warden of Crystals is someone who is not being very generous with their money, even though they have more than enough money to be generous with. However, with the Tower, it's not vibing. That way of viewing things isn't vibing for me. So, yeah, I think whatever it is you've been doing for work, it's not working anymore. It's not worth it anymore. And that does kind of go with the Ten of Crystals in reverse over there. So it could be that instead of moving out of a home or moving out of, yeah, maybe rather than moving out of a home, you're actually moving away from a job. And one of the reasons you've been having a hard time stepping more fully into your identity is because maybe you've been at this job for a very long time. and they all know you a particular way. So it would just be really weird and confusing, and you probably assume a lot of resistance and maybe even hostility if you suddenly wanted to define yourself in a different way. Like, for example, if you, we're gonna go back to the gender um, example actually. Um, so maybe you're not going from gendered to non-binary, but like maybe you're going from like one gender to another. So you're transitioning and you want to go by a different name, but like you've, like, say your original gender was feminine and you've gone by a feminine name. This is falling. You've gone by a feminine name the whole time you've been there and you don't want to go by that name anymore. It's a dead name for you, but you don't know how to ask them to like honor your new name, and maybe you're even afraid that like if they don't, it's gonna upset you and trigger you. So that's one of the reasons that you're seeing basically shoving a side of you down into yourself. Maybe it's not family, maybe it's your job, and it's not a job you like anyway, and it's kind of a sinking ship. So if you're in a job that is a sinking ship and you don't enjoy it and the money's not there or the money's simply not worth it, this is also the time for you to leave that. So for many of you, it's not a home, it's a job. Um, and with that, we're going to finally move on to your health and spirituality. I'm not trying to make another 45-minute video, even though it looks like it's gonna be. Okay, we have the Seven of Wands in the up hand for health and spirituality. And we have the Four of Wands for health and spirituality. Okay, so this is where we're seeing a home. This is where we're seeing a home. So Seven of Wands is feeling like you have to defend what it is that you have created, what it is that you have accomplished. And the Four of Wands is celebration, reunion, and a happy home base. So maybe it's both for some of you. I hope not. Or maybe for a lot of you, it's March is you're going to be feeling out more of, again, maybe there's a lot of people around you who are not necessarily for you. And one of the reasons they're not for you is because they don't accept your healing. They don't accept the person that you were trying to become. The Four of Wands, when it's in the health and spirituality place, it also makes me think of like the person who has home within themselves, who feels at home within themselves. And maybe you're working really hard to like really like just make this extra move in March with your healing where you're like, no, like I just want to feel at peace, good, no matter what, no matter where I am, no matter what's going on. And that does take a lot of work. And maybe there's a lot of people who are challenging that. Um, it could also be for some of you, if any of you have any autoimmune disorders or anything in your health that is further exacerbated by stress, I would limit the stress that you have in March as much as humanly possible, because that's another thing that I'm getting is just to kind of watch your stress levels because they might trigger something in your health in the month of March. And also just making sure you feel super secure within yourself. Just working on that sense of security. But yeah, Taurus, this is all I feel I have for you. Thank you for coming to your reading. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe as you see fit. And pop on over to the other readings. I will be releasing them throughout the rest of the week. And I will see you again soon. Be good, be safe, and love and light to you. Bye.